Hi, I'm Summer Page. I am an English teacher with Insight Virtual Academy, and today we're going to talk about SEL and using it within the general education classroom. By the way, this started with me looking it up for a webinar and then turned into a research project, so it's more than just one source that I found information. What is SEL? SEL means social emotional learning, and that means that when the students are learning, they're understanding their emotions more, they're figuring out how to manage them, they're setting positive goals, they begin to have empathy for other people and understand what that is. They are able to keep more positive relationships in their lives, and of course they make responsible decisions. And there's a lovely quote here. I'm not going to read it aloud to you, but feel free to pause this if you would like to read it, or also look at the slideshow that was also given for this as well. So, why SEL? SEL has been shown to help with engagement, that self-management, that self-efficacy, meaning that they believe that they can succeed. And there's plenty of research out there that shows that those that have those SEL skills are much more likely to be successful. So teaching that within not just the classrooms like 7 Mindsets would be a more positive for these students. Now, this can help with a variety of different things. Some of the examples: attendance, behavior, course performance, things like that. So what do we do with this information? Well, the first thing is like when we're first grouping, like next year with our new amounts of groups that we will be teaching, you can initially group using the GPA, because that has been the largest factor in figuring out those that need these types of skills. Then once you've got that going, you can focus more on grit, which I'll explain in a moment, and how to get that, as well as find more information about them to see if it really is the SEL that's the issue, or is there home life issues, academic challenges, those kinds of things, and be able to adapt and grow from there. But the good news is that any student, it has been proven, it has been helped with SEL lessons for them. So what is grit? Grit is having the passion and perseverance for achieving long-term goals. That was said by Gulbradson, which you will see at the end of this. And it's partially fostered by experience. So grit can be helped by what students go through. So with we as teachers, we want to make sure that we're helping to and applauding their strengths that they have. We're giving them ways to help, goals on what to do, and help in the creation needs to be with the student, so that way they are more likely to continue with it because they have been a part of it. And make sure you give lots of opportunities to do this, so that way they can hear it multiple times how they're doing well, see this in different ways, and really get the opportunity to shine in it. One way to teach it is through SEL. There's other ways, of course, but this is one of the proven ways because it does give that self-management learning piece to it. And self-management can be taught. It may be tough, but it can be taught. So again, what are we going to do with this information? Now you have those groups. You can make following changes to help these groups to build those skills, those SEL skills, by having practices with you leading. Maybe this is at the very beginning of class and it's kind of your warm-up on what, like getting into the class itself. Give text about the levels of emotion or self-regulation, character having the use or lacking the skill of grit, and analyzing that. So that would be a great reading for meaning exercise. And it could be a daily thing. Like that way they know it's coming every single day. We're going to do an RFM on some of these SEL skills that you need. Change your away room or create a separate room that's called a peace corner, and that's where students can go in that room and bring themselves back to a better place. Like they say, if they're not in the green zone, they go in there. It's got many videos to lead them through steps of how to self-regulate, pictures of the zones with steps of what to do, maybe just a reminder about grit, those kinds of things to kind of help bring them back to a place where they're ready to learn. Some ways to foster grit. It helps students with their efforts of understanding that what they're doing is helping other people, so they see an outside influence in what they're doing. Help them to have a growth mindset. Ask students to set their own long-term goals, and making sure to go back to that repeatedly, see how they're doing, making sure to model with your own goals so they can kind of see what you're doing and how you're persisting as well. Make sure you have regular opportunities to make mistakes and correct them. Make it an everyday thing so it's not something that's crazy. Oh my gosh, I made a mistake. Now they can go, oh, it's a mistake. This is how I fixed it. I learned from it this way, that kind of thing. For older students, you can also do a grit pie activity. I haven't really jumped into that, but it was provided on the What is SEL site that I looked at. So there's a clickable link in the PDF that I'll send out. And there's also Amy Lyon's Perseverance Walk activity, and that's where it involves picking someone who has shown grit and then interviewing them. So it kind of gives them a one-on-one experience with someone who has shown that before, and it could even be another student. You can focus discussions on effort, tenacity, and learning from failures, and giving examples for students to visualize, have them answer, does grit resonate with you? If so, what do you plan to do to foster grit? So this is mostly focused on the grit factor as far as SEL is concerned, but there are plenty of other pieces to SEL, but this is the one that seems to stand out most with our students. With the group that was presented, unfortunately I misspelled grit, sorry about that, but those that read nonfiction and discussed grit through it, they went from 32% to 73% proficiency in persevering on a task. So in other words, they didn't give up as easily, and that's a huge percentage difference. So this would help students to stay engaged in class longer, be more committed to attending class more regularly, because they would get things like the practice, those examples, skills to be able to do it, connection to that 7 Mindsets class if they're in it, so they can see how it applies to more than just that class, broadens that understanding, and of course gives more practice to help be successful in life. And not to mention, it gives self-confidence and the ability to control themselves better, because oftentimes they don't like it. They don't like that they don't have that type of control. And so helping to teach this helps them to be empowered and know that they are in control and what to do if they lose control. So we're excited. There's a few different places that I found information. There's plenty more online that you can look up if you want to jump into this even more. And of course, if you have questions or would like to discuss this further, I would love to. Just hit me up, email, phone. For those of you at Insight Virtual Academy, and those of you that are watching otherwise, I guess you could leave comments in the YouTube that this will be uploaded to. Thank you and have a wonderful day.